So The Hill has a new article out that someone has just filed the papers to launch a campaign committee to run The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, for a 2020 presidential run. Now, the committee is called Run The Rock 2020, and it's been filed on behalf of Johnson with the FEC, and it seems like it's not somebody who has any connection to The Rock, but somebody wants The Rock to run, and they filed the paperwork to do so. Now, this is the exact lesson that people should not be learning with the Donald Trump presidency. Just because Donald Trump was a celebrity and ran for president doesn't mean that we should be enlisting other celebrities to run against him in 2020. That's not the lesson here. The lesson from Donald Trump is that we need actual politicians that represent actual people, that have actual strong, principle-based policy positions, and not just policy positions based on who their big donors are. That's the lesson we should be learning. We don't need The Rock in 2020 or any other celebrity to run in 2020. We need people who actually understand policy, who actually understand government and how to get things done, and are supporting real policies that people want to see. So, for example, over half the country want to see Medicare for all healthcare. Not even the Democratic Party is pushing that. That's how far right the discussion is in terms of the leadership of these parties. They're not even pushing the party that should be the party of the left, the Democratic Party, is not even pushing real progressive policy. They're not pushing to get big money out of politics. The Democratic Party is not pushing to raise taxes on the wealthy, or raise taxes on corporation, or at the very least, enforce the existing tax code on large multinational corporations that get out of paying taxes through loopholes. The Democratic Party is not pushing as a party to raise the minimum wage to a livable $15 minimum wage or higher. The Democratic Party is not doing this. All of the discussion is being had on the right. All the policy that's being discussed is all policy that is big donor approved policy. So there has to be a candidate that actually represents real people. And I have a video out showing that the polling shows that the majority of Americans are progressive, whether they realize it or not, when it comes to the actual policy issues, not how they self-identify, but the actual policy issues. People identify as progressives. And in fact, the only poll I was able to see where it's not shown as a majority of progressive support is on the death penalty. So most people still in America support the death penalty. That is the only policy issue that I was able to find that people poll consistently to the right on. Everything else, whether it's taxes, whether it's healthcare, whether it's minimum wage, all of these big issues, people poll progressive. So running somebody like The Rock, I'm not sure what that's going to solve. I don't even know where The Rock stands. And I don't really care where he stands. He is a celebrity. He is an actor. You may love The Rock. That doesn't mean he should be running a country. America needs somebody who actually understands how to run a country. Somebody who's actually run for elected office before. And look, I totally understand that people want an outsider. And that's a large part of the reason why Donald Trump was voted in, because he was an outsider. But you need to be able to parse what an outsider is from somebody who doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. Donald Trump doesn't know what he is doing. Now, if you want an outsider, what you're really looking for is somebody who is not bought by big money interests. Somebody who actually represents real people on the ground. What Donald Trump represents are the same people that all these other politicians you don't like represent. He represents big oil, big multinational corporations, Wall Street. I mean, how many people does he employ that are from Goldman Sachs? Donald Trump is not a person of the people. He fooled a lot of voters into thinking that he was, because he was an outsider. He wasn't a politician. But just because somebody is not a politician doesn't mean they know what they're doing, and doesn't mean that they represent you. So the lesson, I'm going to reiterate, the lesson here from Donald Trump is not that you need to run a celebrity against Donald Trump to beat Donald Trump. No. What you need is another outsider, yes, but an outsider that actually understands policy. An outsider that actually is not bought by big money. So just wait and see who the Democrats run in 2020. And see who supports them in terms of where they get their money from. So, as an example, if Bernie Sanders runs again, he'll run without taking big money, the same way he ran in the primaries against Hillary Clinton. Look for that sort of candidate. So whether Bernie runs or not, if he doesn't run, there has to be a candidate that is smart enough to know that they should run without a super PAC and without taking big corporate, big donor money, and actually running on small individual donations and representing real people. Because that is the only way that we'll be able to know if that politician, that candidate, truly represents you. Because if they're taking big donor money, they're taking big corporate money, they're taking Wall Street money, they take super PAC money and use that in their campaign, they don't represent you. They represent that money. That's who has their ear. But if they're taking individual contributions and they're not taking that big money, then that influence is cut off. Now, Donald Trump, again, fooled people into thinking that he was self-funded. He wasn't self-funded. You can actually look into this. A lot of big money interests gave him money. He was not self-funded. So just keep an eye on this. Don't be fooled by celebrities that are running. Don't be fooled by politicians, Democrat, Republican, center, independent, whatever, that are running, acting like they're a voice for the people, but in reality, they're taking big money to run their campaign. Don't be fooled by those politicians either. Only trust in people that don't take big money and are actual politicians that have actual principled positions and a history of supporting those positions. So that's my advice for you for the next 4 years, going into 2020, that just be aware of that. Don't be fooled by celebrities. Don't be fooled by fake politicians. Listen to people that are real politicians, that are principled, that don't take big money.